So we have seen this particular problem statement, multi-level marketing. Now let will move on to the selection of blockchain. From the given case, it can be understood that the marketing process is happening in the closed environment. It means this market group does not require third party to monitor. So each participant in the network needs to have accountability of the amount they paid. So company and franchise both need to keep the track of the fee. So these transactions must be recorded for future reference, for which database is needed. The manager, marketing manager, franchise owner, and members are participants who can write onto the ledger. So this is in this way. This is the explanation for this. So how to start with the blockchain project? So start with the small model. Always you try to start with the small model. Like you may make use of the simple prototyping model. So prototyping model you are aware of in the software development. So for what purpose this prototyping will be used? When we use the prototype model,
Sir, we use the prototype model when we need the interaction of the customer with the products in between. Means the time prior to the prototype, we were having waterfall. So in that case, the customer was having uh, the final product review only. The customer cannot have the access of the view of the product in between. Whereas in case prototype, we can have the view of the product in between in sort of a prototype, in sort of a dummy or a beta version.
it's not a beta version. Uh, see,
So it's sort of a product demo.
product demo, right? Correct. That is correct. See, nowadays, many of the people, most of us are mainly focusing uh, because of the fancy things like machine learning and all. Okay, everyone is moving in that direction. But software engineering is a very beautiful subject where we need to focus on because for all the software applications, including blockchain applications, software engineering plays a major role. Uh, we should always see that in the BTech projects also, whether they have followed the software engineering procedures correctly or not. So maybe knowingly or unknowingly, they will use the procedure, but they don't know what is the procedure they're following unless until they enter into any development firm. So here, the prototype is to gain the understanding of the product. The customer it will be developed so that the customer can work with that prototype and can gain the functionality of the product if it was developed at a large scale. So mainly the prototype will be developed when you are not certain about the total system or total building. Like for example, if you go to any builder's office, there the builder may take up some constructions, maybe very high-rise apartments or something. In front of their apartment, in front of their office, okay, there may be a beautiful sketch of or beautiful uh, deployment of small high-rise apartment kind of thing. Okay, that particular maybe images or maybe any other thing. Okay, that will be placed. So whenever customer enter, and they will explain that okay, this is the north side and this is south side. And this is the main road before this society, and these are the number of gates. Okay, so the customer will get an idea. Okay, this after construction of the building and the entire society, okay, it will look like this. So this is what we call prototype. So blockchain applications, the one who are very new to this area, they don't know about this, how they function and all. So that is the reason prototype will be developed, and this prototype is of two categories. One is throw away prototype and including prototype. Throw away prototype means once the requirements are understood, once the customer got the idea, and at the same time developers also got the idea how to proceed further, and and that will be removed from the main project. and they go for the development of the full scale system from scratch. That is what is called throw away prototype. Including prototype means that will be used in the main production. So this is what the thing here. So start with small model and few users, few features, few functionalities, and slowly add new features to scale to the large. The reason is in the blockchain applications, especially, requirements will keep on coming. Sometimes you may go for refining of the requirement. So in such a cases, if the requirements were changed, obviously there will be certain risk involved. Okay? Whenever there is risk involved, obviously the project also focused on is also based upon some budget. So the budget is also involved. So sometimes if the requirement is unable to meet, the budget will be wasted, and it also lead to some several risks. Either the risk may be related to the finance, the risk may be related to the security, risk may be related to the deployment, maybe any other kind of risk may happen. So that is the reason the best model that is available in the software development phase is called spiral model. The advantage of spiral model is to is risk assessment, where in case of waterfall model and this kind of model, in the waterfall model, especially when all the requirements are fixed, then we'll go for using of the waterfall model. Okay. So here all requirements are not fixed. The requirements will keep on varying because we start with few users, few features, few functionalities. Okay. When we go for the collaboration consortium blockchain, if new collaborators come, then new requirements come into the picture. It should keep on evolving. So so when it is keep on evolving, so evolutionary model, a kind of spiral model will be used, especially to know to understand the risk. So the best way of developing the blockchain projects or blockchain applications at the large scale is by using the spiral model. Any doubts so far? So how to start the blockchain product? First of all, you define the goal, identify the actor, define the system use cases, okay, class and UML diagram, then divide the system as smart contract system and external system. Smart contract system, that means which requirement here list the functional requirements of these cases. What requirements need to be executed under smart contract? What requirements need to be presented as a web application? I hope you got it now. In the functional requirement, some functional requirements are to be handled from the front end. Some functional requirements has to be handled from the back end. So you need to go for distinction of which requirement to be handled at the front end side, which requirement has to be handled at the back end side. The requirements that need to be handled at the back end side are said to be smart contract systems or smart contract requirements. The requirements that need to be handled at the front end are said to be the external systems. External systems means that is not related to your blockchain. That may be sitting on top of the blockchain, may give the commands to the block. So such systems are said to be external systems. Now, so SC system, that is smart contract system, divide the system into two systems. What are those systems? Smart contract system and external system. In the smart contract system, now design the smart contract system, redefine the actors and use cases, smart contract decomposition. Once the smart contract decomposition was happened, so because in one file you may write any number of smart contracts, or one smart contract may link with other smart contract. Okay, so like that you can have the decomposition of the smart contract and can also build the relation. Once the smart contract was decomposed like classes, okay, just like classes, there define the messages for each smart contract. define the data structure in each smart contract. Okay? Define the modifier and functions. Modifiers will help you to get the control over what type of input you are giving and what should be the output, and who can view this particular modifier, or which condition need to be executed for executing certain function. These kind of things will come into the picture. Define the modifier and function. Then go for security assessment. Either you may go for pre-condition checking, post-condition checking, etc. Next is write the test cases for the smart contract. So this is one part. So how to build the smart contracts? So the smart contracts will be built like this. Design the smart contract system, define the actors and use cases, decompose the smart contracts, define the messages, define the data structure, define the modifiers and functions, security assessment, then write the test cases for the smart contract. Now this particular part, this particular system is at the back end, that is with respect to the blockchain. Now in correspondence to this, we should also go for the front end, because the instructions are the input or instructions are coming from the front end. So if you interact with internet banking, obviously you will not directly go to the blockchain. You will not directly go to the bank database, and you won't go for the transaction. So obviously you will check from the front end application. Like that, if you go for creation of a NEFT transfer or a periodical transfer of money, all these things will be set from the your internet account on, that is internet banking account on. You never go to the bank database and you go for it. It's just like that. See, the external system, from this you will get this particular inputs, and these inputs accordingly, whatever the input accordingly, that input need to be submitted to the smart contract. So for example, here in case of internet banking, whenever you log in, automatically the bank server will come to know that who logged in because of the customer ID and account details, all these things. So in the same way, your web application that you develop should also consisting of the login details, and whenever any user logged into that, login details will automatically under the particular login user's account. Okay, the smart contracts has to be executed, and corresponding amount may be deducted from that. So you have to design the system. So that means not only design the smart contracts, with respect to the smart contracts, which which attribute or which feature is required to execute the smart contract. Based on that, you need to develop the external system also. That means if the smart contract is taking the user's account, means there should be some supplier of that particular account from the front end. Like that, you need to design the external system. I hope by this time you got that the smart contract system and external system should work in hand to have the correct communication. So how will design the external system? Design the external system, redefine the actors and use cases, design the architecture. After designing the architecture, so here you may use any kind of architecture, like maybe publish subscribe architecture, but maybe any other architecture. Design the user interface, design modules, messages, database structure, define the detailed interfaces, security assessment has to be done. Then write and test the code, web server type, DB type, and client type. Now you may get a doubt that blockchain is backend, and here also DB is there. Database is also backend. Why you are writing? Why you are going for a separate system, subsystem like this, a smart contract system, which will run at the backend? We will call it as a backbone or backend. And here the external system is also linked with the database. How come it is? Why two backends? Do you got this doubt or not? Anyone? Any participant?
Maybe, sir, to divide the work into two different systems.
To divide the work into
Different systems.
two
Like one is
different.
external system, another is SC system.
No, no.
Okay.
Any other idea?
Sir, external system, or there might be a kind of a prototype,
Mm-hmm.
as we are preparing two parallel systems. One is the smart contract and another one is the external system.
Mm-hmm. Okay. See, the answer is like this. Answer is blockchain should not consisting of every information. Okay. Blockchain should be as much crisp as possible. That means whatever the data you are going to enter into the system must be divided into on-chain and off-chain. On-chain means the important information that need to be stored in the blockchain. Off-chain means the link of the information that you are placed in the blockchain must be kept on the off-chain. Off-chain means not on the chain. So where that information has to be placed, that must be placed either in some databases or some distributed platforms like IPFS or distributed blockchain databases like Province DB, like that, many other secondary systems. So if you look at the Bitcoin blockchain, in that Bitcoin blockchain, one block is equal to the maximum size of each block is of 1 MB. In 1 MB, how much information you can store? You cannot store the entire information that you are processing. For example, in the case of case 1, the new user has to submit the identity information. The identity may be of image of PAN card or maybe Aadhaar card or maybe any other thing. All these things you cannot keep in the blockchain. You should not keep all these things in the blockchain. You should only keep the meta reference and its hashed values into the blockchain. Okay. The reason is the blockchain operations are very costly. Smart contract operations are also very costly. If smart contract is executed, some gas points will be consumed. When if the gas points are consumed, that will be deducted from your account only. So thereby, if more resources are more information you are storing, obviously more data processing has to be done. If more data processing has to be done, obviously more gas points will be executed. So when more gas points are executed, more faster your account will deplete. So this is the balance in your account will be consumed. So this is what the main reason. And at the same time, it is always recommended only to provide the uh, as much crisp information as possible on the blockchain. For example, you are uploading some medical certificate. So medical certificate will not be placed in the blockchain. Then what will be placed in the blockchain? Medical certificate information is hashed, and the hashed information along with the user ID, timestamp, this entire will be again hashed, and that relevant hash value will be placed on the blockchain, and its link will be given to the medical certificate that you have uploaded and stored in the database. I hope by this time you got why you require database and the backend smart contract. Any doubt?
No, sir, it's fine. Right, sir.
So the main aim is only metadata or very crisp data has to be placed on the blockchain, not every information. So even though you are, for example, you are uploading the image, if the image is of 10 MB or 50 MB or 1 GB, it's of no use. The only thing is just you hash with the SHA-256, you will get the 256 bit hash. simple 256 hash you will place it in the blockchain, and only the reference will be given to the particular image. That's all. So thereby what is happening, you need to store the entire 1 GB or 100 MB or 10 MB of size of file into the blockchain. Only using this hash of that blockchain, hash of the resource need to be placed in the blockchain. So that is the reason we are going to use the web server tier, DB tier, and client tier. So this is what the external system with which the user can interact. And backend system is one where lighter information will be placed, and key information, not lighter and key information you can say will be placed, and also will define the triggering conditions on with which this contract has to be executed and related transaction has to be performed. So once this particular system has been developed, now club these two. Now the club these two, integrate these two, that is smart contract system and the external system, and test it, deploy the DApp system. So thereby you will finally get the entire application. Now, whatever the full stack web application development is there, this is the external system. Okay, whatever the full stack web application development that you are listening today is the front end system, that is external system. The Solidity programming, smart contracts development is the smart contract system. So you can write this smart contracts in Solidity programming and keep it executed and test it properly. Now the external system, you go for developing full stack web application, and this web application has to be linked with the smart contract system. How? For this, several connectivities will be there, like Web3.js, Web3.py, Web3.j. These kind of applications are available. Like for example, your full stack application you might have done using React.js, MongoDB, or AngularJS and other databases, or PHP, MySQL, or servlets and Oracle, or VB Oracle, maybe any other thing, or maybe JSP and Oracle. So like that, you might have developed the front end application. So whenever you develop the front end application, how we will connect with the back end application? This is what the integration is. For this integration, several modules, several libraries were developed based upon the type of front end application that you have developed. For example, in case of Web3.js, for example, Web3.js is there. So Web3.js is a library, okay, which is developed for the Ethereum JavaScript API. So if you might have developed the front end application in the HTML and JavaScript, this particular JavaScript application want to connect with the backend database. In such a case, this particular Web3.js has to be injected into your JavaScript. So this particular JavaScript application, this particular Java Web3.js library will be used in the front-end application, and with via Web3 modules or functions, you are going to connect with the smart contract system, and you whatever the input you give into the HTML or JavaScript over here front-end application, that will be passed to the smart contract, and whatever the smart contract executed, whatever the transaction executed, its result is there, that will be presented onto the front end. So if you use the front end application like a HTTP protocol, or we can say, sorry, HTML, JavaScript, CSS based application development, React.js, AngularJS, Node.js related applications. For all these applications, we may use this Web3.js. What if you might have used the front end application development using Python? Okay, like Django, Flask. These are the front end application development environment where you can also connect to the databases, and also you can develop the full scale application. Then for that, you will be having Web3.py. So web3.py is a package that you need to install along with the Django framework. You can use with along with the Django framework. Using Web3, just you import the Web3 into your program, Web3.py into your program, and use these particular functions. Here, beautiful documentation is available. How to connect with the backend application. So here, this particular backend blockchain server will run on some port or some IP address. So what you do is you will go for connecting with that particular URL of the blockchain with the help of the HTTP or IPC interprocess communication or WebSocket. Via these three models, you will connect it, and whatever the information or whatever the input you are going to pass to the backend, that you will pass it, and the result after execution of the smart contract, whatever the result you got, that will be displayed again back to the front end. So this is the way communication will happen. So if you use the front end application with the HTML JavaScript, then Web3.js is recommended. If you use Python as the front end application development like Django or Flask, then Web3.py is suitable for using. What if the front end application is in Java program? You might have done. What if the front end application you have developed in Java? Look at Web3.j. So Web3.j, okay, Web3.j is for the connecting the Java application with the backend Ethereum network. Web3.js connecting the web application, front-end web application with the backend blockchain application. Web3.py is for the Python application with the backend. I hope you got clear. Now this is the Web3.j and JSON RPC remote procedure call connect to the network, Ethereum network, Ethereum client, then Ethereum client, like that. So for this also, you will be having how to download the smart contracts, how to compile the Solidity source code, how to connect with this. This complete documentation is available here. So in the next sessions, what I will do is I will teach you the Solidity programming and how to execute the smart contracts, like this particular backend, this particular part. Okay, how to test the smart contracts. Then I will try to explain the Web3.js and how to connect this with the front-end application, okay, and how to get the data from the front-end application to the backend blockchain smart contract to the front-end application. So that I will explain. So complete application of this backend smart contract system and external system all put together is said to be decentralized application, which is called as DApps. So I hope by this time you come to know how the smart contract system or how to start with the smart blockchain product. So the blockchain product consisting of two main parts. One is SC system, that's smart contract system, and external. External system is a full stack web application. Smart contract system is the smart contract which was written, tested, executed on particular blockchain. Either it may be Ethereum blockchain or maybe Hyperledger or Cordra R3 or maybe any other blockchain. Okay. So in if you consider the Hyperledger, there you will use a separate programming language like Google's language. What is that? And in case of Cordra R3, Kotlin or Java will be used. In case of Ethereum, you will use Solidity as the programming. Any doubt so far?
No, sir.
So by this time, you have understood the diagram. Now we'll move on to the next step. How to understand the business problem. The question asked here, what are the specific business problems, challenges that the first project will address? Here some questions for there. Okay. The same questions. Promotion and marketing are important activities to boost the net business for any product manufacturing company. Here, what are the product manufacturing is there? In case of management, especially in case of marketing, you have 4P principle: people, product, place, and price. So the most usual way to public address sometimes. Okay. So this understanding of the business problem will be like this. Mainly, the multi-level marketing is not the conventional advertising or company marketing. It is only the internal marketing. So much discussion is not required because it is directly the marketing is happening. Marketing is happening in the small scale, in the closer group. So much discussion and much elaboration is not required for. So we'll move on to the next. What is the current way of solving the business problem? Understand the current system and areas of improvement. The current manual system lack trust and ethical practices. The proposed system is designed using blockchain such that trust and ethical practices can. So these are the general discussions. I will mainly focus on the questions which was there here. Identify the roles, stakeholders in these. There are 4 roles according to the problem statement. One is company, another is manager, another is franchise, and another is member. So total 4 members are there, 4 users are there, 4 roles are there. So, and except manager, everyone has their own account to hold fee and profit share. We all know that. Okay, before moving on to this, first of all, I would like to ask you, how many number of accounts, if you consider Ethereum smart contract development, how many accounts will be there in the Ethereum smart contract or Ethereum? I think yesterday theory of Ethereum was happened, smart contracts were happened. Can you answer?
Sir, you are asking about the number of accounts in Ethereum.
What are the categories of accounts in the
Categories of accounts. Member, admin.
no, general accounts? This is member admin. That is from the user point of view. But actually, to work with the smart contract in Ethereum, what are the categories of accounts?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, there are 2 accounts. One is smart contract account. Second one is externally owned accounts, EOAs. Okay, one is
Okay. The one you have shown in the diagram also.
ha
One for the metadata and one for the detailed descriptive data.
ha. So
Okay.
smart contract account and externally owned account. In order to
Okay.
create a smart contract account, you need to have an externally owned account. Okay, if you are the user of the system, you will be allotted an externally owned account. Whenever under your account, if smart contract is initialized, then smart contract initialization will also become an account, which is called as smart contract account. If any transaction has happened, if money transactions were happened, that will be happened with the smart contract account only, not with the externally owned account. So it is just like a company, a college is having student welfare fund. So the student welfare fund is having its own account. Okay, any student activity or any kind of student functions or maybe any other thing will happen with the expenses gained from that particular account or amount gained from that particular account. So the institution will not give you any, will not divert the funds from some other account to this account. So anything was happened, it was happened within this particular account. So this is called a smart contract account. If you want to destroy the smart contract, then first of all, whatever is the left amount in the smart contract account, that must be taken on to the external owned account, then go for destroying of the smart contract. If you destroy the smart contract without taking the money or amount which is available, balance amount available in the smart contract, if you destroy it, once it is destroyed, you cannot get that particular amount back. So this is what is called smart contract account and externally owned account. In order to create smart contract account, you must have external account, externally owned account. So these are the two things that are very, very important that you must know for the smart contract. So company, it has an account in which the franchise registration fee will be deposited. That means you should write a contract with a company account. Okay. In that company account means company contract. The company contract will be having company account. In that company account, what will be stored? Franchise registration fee will be deposited in that. If you are deleting the company account, means company account cannot be deleted by others. Only the company can delete its own account. That means the actual company is having its own main account, externally owned account. Okay, like how college is having its own account, but in that sub accounts are there: student welfare fund, or the PF fund, or maybe any other thing, any other accounts like that. So here company is having one account, that university is having one account. That means there is an externally owned account under which you may have any number of sub accounts. Like just now, as I told you, student account fund or running and placement fund or some this kind of thing, sports meet fund or something like that. So this company has an account in which franchise registration fee will be deposited. It maintains a depositors list and deposited amount for auditing purpose. So there should be a log in this particular company which will keep track of who are the depositors and deposited amount, and the deposited amount has been credited to the externally owned account or not. These are the things are used for auditing purpose. At any time, company can view the registration account balance and can also transfer the registration account balance, that is from the smart contract account to its own address, called externally owned account. In additional, provision has been made while paying the fee is that any excess amount other than franchise registration fee will be credited back to the applicant account. As we have seen in the use case, in order to apply for the franchise, you need to pay 500 WAI. For example, you might have paid 600 WAI, or somebody is there who are sitting and are going for some what called online filling of this particular thing. Okay, or you might have approached some mediator and you want to go for registering to this particular company as a franchise. If that person wantedly go for example, okay, if that person wantedly go for, instead of paying for 500 WAIs, if they might have asked you to pay for 600 WAIs. Okay. So if they want to go for 600 WAIs, excuse me, after 1 hour. So here, if that person is going for 600 WAIs, then obviously the registration fee is only 500 WAIs. Okay, the registration fee is only 500 WAIs, but you have paid 100 WAIs extra. So if such cases, there should be a logic in the contract that if an additional provision has been made that paying the fee is that any excess amount other than the franchise fee will be credited back to the applicant's account. So no need to worry. The applicant also no need to worry. It's a transparent process. If even though additional amount has been paid, but still whatever the amount is required, only that amount has to be that amount will be deducted, and the remaining amount will be written back. It is just like it's quite better if this kind of thing was implemented in the government registration process. So for any government services, if you approach any middleman, automatically they will take many hefty amount and they say that okay, this much is required. We need to pay this much to this person, that person. No, not required. Okay, if you directly pay into the system, automatically, even though the middleman asks you to pay extra, no, directly the how much is required, that much will be deducted, and the remaining will be returned back. So it's a beautiful process. Company address is public. So company address is public in nature. So anyone can view it because it is an externally owned account. So next one is company recruits area managers according to the PIN code to approve the finance application. This PIN code and all we have not discussed it in the problem statement. Problem statement is completely abstract. Only thing is we need to elaborate it. Okay, this is the way of elaboration. How the because we have seen here this was given to the company marketing manager. Then obviously marketing manager must be associated with company. That means marketing manager consisting of an account? No, marketing manager will not be holding any account. He will be having the account of only the company, and which is public in nature. So all marketing manager will come to know the company account directly. So company address is public and anyone can view it. Company recruits area managers according to the PIN code because area manager is required, like how the postal departments are there. Like PIN code is required for tracing of how many franchises are there, because PIN code based keeping track of things is also very easy, because under this PIN code how many franchises are already allotted. That audit procedure also can be achieved. Company can also change the managers of corresponding PIN code. Also, company maintains the list of approved franchise addresses, PIN code to manager mapping, franchise address to the approved manager mapping, and others. To support company tasks, various bean classes, bean functions. In Java programming, you might have seen the bean function: set method, get method, is method. Set method is to set some value, get method is used to get the value, and is method is to check the value. So these functions are defined. The entire multi-language marketing contract can be destructed using kill function. So it is just like a destructor to a constructor. So kill is a function used for destroying its own. And this particular destruction can be done only by company. No one can do it. So only by company means, that means even marketing manager can also not destroy this company's account, or manager cannot do this, or maybe franchise cannot do this, member cannot do this, only by company. This particular thing is said to be the modifier. So here we have seen that. Here we have seen. Here. Define the modifier and function. Security assessment. Here define the modifiers and functions. Means modifier means who can access this function. So as we have seen here, so there is a MLM contract can be destructed using kill function. Kill is a function used for the destroying the contract. This can be done only by company. I hope you got it now, that how to define the roles. Here 4 roles: company, manager, franchise, member. So now so far we discussed the company role. The company as a member, company as a role, and what the company will do in abstract. Any doubts so far?
No, sir.
Next we'll move on to the manager. Each manager has an address and associated PIN code. Applications of franchise to a particular PIN code will be processed by corresponding manager. Once a franchise is approved by manager, a new entry will be made in the franchise with franchise information such as address, account creation, franchise size, member list, and all. At the same time, franchise application details are removed from the depositor. Okay. So once the amount has been credited successfully to the company account, then pending application will be cleared from the manager side, and directly it will be added to the here. The company is maintaining one list for the auditing purpose. Somewhere it was written here. Okay. So anytime company can view the registration, account balance, also transfer the registration. So this particular tracking can be made. Then franchise. Each franchise has an address associated with data such as member list, franchise size, etc. Franchise account to hold membership share and others. A franchise can destruct himself because if the franchise want to wind up, he can destruct himself. The destruction process is allotted only to self, that is, who have the externally owned account. While doing it, the leftover membership share will be transferred to franchise externally owned account. So I told you here, this is a smart contract account. Franchise is having its own smart contract. Okay, whatever the amount deposited in the smart contract account, at the time of destruction, that amount will be taken back to the externally owned account. Now, each member has an address and associated data such as franchise address, address of who joined him, or that is link document also. That means who joined him and from where he came. Okay, this kind of thing. An account to hold membership share and others. The member can destruct himself. While doing it, the leftover membership share will be transferred to the member's own account. So in all these things, all these roles, every role is having its own EOA and its own contract. And while destructing this contract, the remaining balance will be returned back to the EOA. And at the same time, separate mapping of the data structures are maintained for accessing details, franchise members. This is for the record keeping purpose. At the same time, the important thing that we have seen is here. Is there any possibility of here? Nadi? What is the, in your opinion, what are the security and audit procedures that need to be incorporated in this case? So unless until you don't have a log, or unless until you don't have the record keeping, you cannot go for the audit procedure. If you look at in the computer network security also, especially in case of IDSs, firewalls, and the operating system security, logs are very important. At what time, which transaction, which process opened, which process closed, what traffic came, what protocol blocked, what port is active. So these are all very important to analyze. Okay, so logs are very important. So that is the reason this is a record keeping and log keeping at the at individual level. So here I am not going in detail of each and everything, because if I start telling each and everything, it's a very big topic. By this time, you come to know the broadly the members definition and their roles and responsibilities. Next one is, who are the specific people within the organization and what their job roles. So first of all, you need to understand the key users in the business. Understand the participants. Who are the participants? How many type of participants are there? So for every question, you need to give the answer. Even though you want to develop any blockchain application, and as a researcher or as an academician, if you want to write your own research paper, you try to address all these questions. Obviously, you will get a beautiful paper. So who are the participants? How many type of participants are there? So in order to visualize the system, you draw a need diagram that which user is interacting with which component of the system, like how in what way they are using, and whether they are interacting with the system with his public key or private key or account number or hash value, or what kind of value, what is the input they are using. So this kind of need diagram, if you can present, the paper also looks good and also comes with a beautiful plan. So who are the participants? How many type of participants are there? Who will they access and interact with the blockchain? Sorry, how they will access and interact with the blockchain. If you can illustrate this kind of things in a diagram, then it will be a beautiful thing. Will there be a peer? Will there be any peer nodes? That means all members are peers, obviously. All franchise are peers, and company has the several managers, several franchises. Do you need web or mobile application? In case of case one, we have seen that the customers can interact with the either web or mobile application. Like here, somewhere it was. So E-Ride firm started both web and mobile application to avail the services by customer. As I have shown you, if you are using mobile-based application, obviously you will try to build the application in the Android platform. So in that Android, either you may use Kotlin or the Java. If you use Java, then how you will connect to the backend database? Obviously, I have shown you how a library. What is that library? Web3j. So that Web3j can be used. So like that, whether you want to interact with the blockchain either via web application or mobile application, which you require, that you need to be focused on. Okay. Are gateways needed, such as exchanges or data providers needed? Gateways are who require. For example, you may be doing the transactions in case of Ether, but the customer know only rupees. Then obviously for every time you need to show the rupees corresponding to the Ether. So you require some gateway or exchange procedure, or sometimes in some cases you require third-party sources. Like there may be an insurance company, they want to give the insurance. So obviously insurance company, if it is having blockchain, it has to take the information from some third-party source. So whether these kind of things are required or not. I will tell you one small example for this. There is a travel insurance. There is a company called travel insurance company. The travel insurance company will charge every customer, will pay the insurance to the domestic plane, especially travel insurance for the ticket amount they have paid. If that aeroplane, if the plane was, their condition is like this, they will mainly give the travel insurance to the domestic plane, and if the plane landed in the destination at least 1 hour late, if it is landed, then their terms is like this: either they will return the 5,000 rupees or the ticket amount, whichever is lesser. This is what their condition. For that, the customer need to pay rupees 500 as an insurance for every flight ticket. This is what the condition. So the insurance need to be paid at least 18 hours before the departure of the flight. So this is okay. I'm telling you this in a brief. I hope you got the scenario. That is, there is a travel insurance agency. So they will charge the customers by telling that if the flight is delayed by 1 hour at the destination, then they will return the 5,000 rupees or the ticket amount, whichever is lower. This is what the condition. Now, how the travel insurance agency come to know that whether the aeroplane or the flight has been delayed by this much time or not? Obviously, unless until there is no source or there is no gateway to exchange the data, whether the so and so flight number coming from so and so time source is delayed by so and so time or not. So the travel agency company may be private in nature. They have their own blockchain, but they need the exchange centers or data providers, okay, which are called as gateways, with which they will get the data, and based upon the data, the contracts will small contracts which are there in the system will execute. And if really the flight was delayed by 1 hour, then automatically the contract will execute the transaction of refunding 500 rupees amount to the customer's account. Do you got it or not? What I am trying to say. But any doubt so far? Any doubt so far? Any doubt so far? How much does this cost to develop a new application? At our institution level, there is no cost. Only our knowledge and the efforts is the cost. But if you are putting it on production, it costs a lot. If you are putting it on test network, local network, much cost is not required. There is no much cost. The only thing is the cost is totally involved in the web application development and your effort in designing the system. Obviously, there are many sponsoring agencies are there. They are doing this sponsoring. But nowadays, what they are also very clever. They they are doing this particular they are calling the internship students and giving some tasks to them, a small amount for them, token amount. And obviously, the students are very good programmers. They try to do this programming, and they are returning back. Uh, so I don't think so much cost is there. It's the same as your web application. How much cost will happen to development? The same cost. At the same time, the cost increases based upon the scale of data that you are entertaining and the number of users interacting with the system, server load. These are also one kind of that you are supposed. So if you have the private blockchain, you don't have more than 500 users at a time. If you look at blockchain, Bitcoin blockchain, you can see at a time you across the world you will find at least 10,000, 20,000 members working on the blockchain. At least 5,000 miners are working on the block mining the block. So heavy load will be there in the public blockchain than the private blockchain. That is up to you to decide whether what type of blockchain you want to use. If it is private blockchain, much load is not required because it is in the controlled environment. See, all these are the factors that will affect the economics of the block. Any other doubt? So next,
Sir, one more question is there that, sir, if someone wants to purchase from outside vendor, then what will be the cost? I think Gaurav Kaushik has asked this question.
you see, if you use the open source platform like Ethereum, it's an open source. IBM Hyperledger, open source. There is see, if you use open source, there is no problem. But uh, proprietary blockchains will cost a lot. Uh, so different pricings are there, but it will be very costly if you take the cloud-based blockchain platform service. But IBM Hyperledger Fabric, Ethereum are open source, open software, free to use. So that is the reason people are mostly developing their applications on Hyperledger Fabric and Ethereum Solidity programming basis. That is the reason these two have been significantly used by the student community and also the academicians.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Any other question? You can type your question in the chat box if you have any query.
Next one is, are gateways such as exchanges, data providers needed? Do you need to integrate to the external data sources? As just now I told you in a travel insurance example, whether you want to integrate with the data sources of external data source. Who will operate the blockchain? Who will govern and regulate the blockchain? This is also a question need to be answered. What is the value incentives for each participant to join the network? Obviously, here we have already have these conditions. Now, here 500 ways are there. This is with respect to the system. But if you want to use the blockchain platform, because there are three platforms available. One is production platform, one is testing platform, another is local platform. So testing platform and local platform, no charge will be paid, especially in case of Ethereum. But in case of production platform, you need to pay some cost. So tomorrow we'll see how to launch our application using testing platform and the local platform. Local platform means your computer. You may purchase a high-end server and you can fix in your computer in your college or university. In that server only the local node may run. Other computers may connect to the server and can start interacting. That is local system. Test network means Ethereum will provide some different test networks, especially to test your application. So you can run on test network from anywhere in the world. You can use the test network and interact with the blockchain. Production environment is directly in the main network. Okay? So it is like a fork to the main network. So there you will use. So like that, we have so many other things like understanding the participants and participants' identities. Do you need to know the other user? In case of Bitcoin blockchain, you don't know who is the other user. Completely shadow. Okay? Nothing. You don't know who is the one who is sending to you, and okay, it's very difficult to identify. Pseudo anonymous blockchain like Bitcoin does not require users to be verified. Whether you require users to be verified. In case of case one, obviously users need to be verified. Okay? In most business use cases, some from identity, some form of identity is required, so that you need to identify. Understanding the assets and transactions, defining the transactions, what type of transactions need to be used in your application, like addition, deletion, change, transfer, queries. Okay? That also need to be identified because you go for the external infrastructure. So if you want to get some information from the backend, obviously you require some querying procedure, that is interaction procedure. This interaction may be via function, may be done via invoking action, maybe via some queries, etc. What are the main steps in the current workflow, and what is the expected benefit by applying blockchain technology? What if legacy systems are involved? So much old company. So, for example, mainframe, okay, this kind of thing, very old company, and legacy systems are being used in the company. What is the degree of interaction with the legacy systems needed to incorporate the blockchain? If more interaction is required for the legacy systems, obviously cost of building application also increase. So just now we discussed the business value, cost benefit analysis. Business that is blockchain systems is costlier than the regular centralized. That is obvious. Just now we are discussing the economics of the blockchain application. So it totally depends upon what is the requirement, how many roles are there, how many security procedures need to be incorporated, what is the scale of application. All these things will decide the cost analysis, because there is no fixed number like this many grams toothpaste is this much amount. No, not like that. It completely varying upon the demand and supply and number of users, requirements, and all. But by and large, blockchain systems is somewhat costlier. Not somewhat, it is costlier only than regular centralized. So with this, I conclude this session as blockchain development, and the different cases. In this to summarize this talk, in this we have started with the when to use the blockchain, what type of blockchains to be used, and with this we have moved on to discussion of two cases. Then afterwards we have moved on to the multi-level marketing, an example case of blockchain smart contract, in which we have seen the flow of developing the smart contract, what type of software development model we need to use, how to start with the project, what requirements need to be gathered, what questions to be addressed, what are the roles to be identified, how to define the requirement, how to define the responsibilities of the roles, and what is smart contract account, what is the externally owned account, how the destruction process will happen, what need to be taken care in the destruction process, and related things like the cost benefit analysis, uh, uh, business values, understanding the assets transactions, participant identity, understanding the part. In the next lecture, we'll see the full-fledged working of this uh, case by first discussing the solidity programming, Ethereum node creation, and knowing about the environment where solidity program can be written and tested, like Remix IDE. Then we move on to the, if possible, I will try to present the decentralized application linkages, Web3.js, Web3j, and Web3 Mostly, I will try to cover one example from Web3.js because all examples covering is very difficult. Web3 and Web3j also very difficult to cover in the next two sessions. So this is what my talk for this day.